I can't sing anymore. Correction, I don't sing anymore. It's been a few months now. I know that doesn't seem like a long time, but when something so integral, so defining of your persona and life is taken away, it starts to grate. It starts to get beneath your skin. You feel it like a physical force inside of you. It demands to be let free and to be given life again. It's a slow, maddening process that you might not notice at first, but in time, you'll find yourself clawing at that portion of yourself denied freedom, especially if it was a defining talent. You would do anything to have it back, no matter the cost, right? Allow me to introduce this person rambling about singing and oppressed talents. Granted, this most likely will be the last time I'll be introducing myself. I'm Dimitri, a 30-year-old male of mixed blood, ranging from Europe to the Americas, rather average, save for the fact that I have a voice. I am a baritone. I could sing nearly any genre, from classical to Gregorian chant, from gothic and industrial to God-fearing country. I would steal shows at karaoke bars and talent shows. In choirs, I was always the best and tore through solos as if they were nothing to me, but still filled with as much emotion as if I was the true embodiment of its subject. Time and time again, girls would tell me how much they'd love to hear me sing, and begged for a chance to date. Sadly, it was rather lost on them that they weren't a part of my predilections. Now I'm certain you're asking yourself, well, Dimitri, why the hell didn't you milk that cow for all it's worth and become famous? Well, folks, a few reasons. Let's face it, a singer is a dime a dozen these days, and if you notice, most singers require more than just a great set of pipes. I'm not ugly, nor am I pretty, just average. I don't have a sob story background or an immensely privileged life that I suck the teat of. Just normal, for the most part. Also, I honestly just wanted to sing. I didn't want money for singing, I didn't want fame and fortune, I just wanted to share my voice, the best that I could, and give it to people. Give them comfort in time of need with soothing tones, or give them a joyous overture when it was time to celebrate. I just wanted to make people happy. Lastly, there was Marcus. Marcus was my husband, best friend, my confidant, and my everything. Singing was what brought us together, but I couldn't leave him, and I knew that if I pursued a life of celebrity, it would be the death to our relationship. I had met him when he had visited New York, where I had been residing at the time. A few of my friends and I had been carousing the nightlife at a bar, and were outside just shooting the proverbial shit. The lot of us had decided to start singing random songs we knew at each other, just for fun. As I was singing a piece by Heinrich Schütz, I caught the eye of one of the men coming out of the bar. He stopped the instant that he heard me singing. I wavered a moment, before picking up and continuing, and then finishing at a decent stopping point. My friends chuckled at me for always picking a verbose song, but I couldn't hear them. I was too busy locking eyes. That's really good. Schütz? He asked. I'd like to hear more. And from there, a simple question and request had started. From a chance meeting, to a long-distance relationship, to eventually, me giving up a city life and moving to his home in rural Vermont. It had turned out that Marcus owned and ran a fairly small hotel deep in the woods of northern Vermont. It was a little place off a dirt road and saw very little traffic. But it was a family heirloom, and seeing as much of his family had long since became either estranged, passed away, or simply washed their hands of it, Marcus had given his loyalty full-hearted to it. And he could never leave it unless he knew it was being taken care of by family. I applauded this. I never once regretted giving up the lights and sounds to move to a place where the population was effectively two. Just me and him. That was 3 years ago. I still sang when I could, but I never found the ability to share it as much as I normally wanted to. Occasionally I'd sing for the guests, and I reveled in their smiles. I'd sing for Marcus when it was just us, and it was like every night was that first night we had met. The only time he'd ask me not to sing was when we'd go out hunting together. For obvious reasons. The singing would scare away the game, and it would make finding wild animals really difficult. Not that it was much of a problem for him in any ways. The man was one hell of a shot. He could shoot at a yardage that was far beyond anything I could. Sometimes he'd shoot his rifle at something I couldn't even see, and I'd only know that he had hit something based on the thump it made in the forest. One early autumn night, I decided to go out behind the hotel into the woods. I was restless, and I couldn't sleep. The sound of nature's nighttime chorus was even louder than normal that night. Wide-eyed and bored at 2 a.m. was making me pace the hotel. I couldn't make much noise since we did have the one guest that night, and the crotchety old coot seemed to be the kind to bash me over the head with his cane if I woke him up. So I opted to go out for a walk. I put on a coat. I took a handgun with me, just in case anything decided to make a meal of me. I walked out into the trees, darkness lit only by the pinpricks of starshine and the weak light of a pale moon. Every so often I would look back until I couldn't see the light of the hotel windows. Once the light was gone, I started to sing Gloomy Sunday, a song that has some connotations of suicide, but mostly it's in regards to death and leaving it all behind with love. Why I chose that song, I had no idea, but looking back on it now, it seems so apt. All the while, I could hear animals and insects moving about, but never once did I see them. I only heard their rustling in voices, chittering, cooing, purring, and fluttering of wings, but not once did I see their origins. In the cold air amidst the trees and the din of nature's music, I sang. But as I was singing, something made me stop. I wouldn't have noticed it had it not been for the chance flutter of wings that pulled my attention in the direction. The first animal I had seen since this nightly excursion was just a bit to my left. In a tiny clearing atop a broken and decayed tree, a beautiful white bird perched like a snowy king seated in a macabre throne. It was a massive avian. White plumage spread out some 8 feet. Its neck was long and swan-like, like reaching so high into the night air. Though its size was absurdly huge, that's not what truly gave me pause. It was the face. The body was perfect in every detail to what a bird should look like. But that face, it took what should have been the beauty of nature and turned it into the nightmare from a madman's imaginings. A disturbing, yet sweet, cherubic-like face stared back at me from atop its extended neck. The countenance was of alabaster skin with the rosy cheeks of youth. Its lips were twisted in a smile that said it was enjoying itself. The eyes, of vivid, full green without pupil, were far larger than any human child, and did not follow any natural scheme. They held me there in their emerald gaze. As the chimerical creature stood there, quiet for a moment, I watched astounded. A tiny chortle came from its lips. Not like a child's, but like an old woman's chuckle. A bit raspy and high-pitched, full of mirth that uneased me, yet I felt that somehow this was more natural than my own voice. As I started to back away instinctively, it spoke. It's deep in the night, child. Shouldn't you be in your warm bed, resting in your home, away from the nature your kind has forgotten? It said these words with such immense weight, I couldn't help my guilt-ridden and stammering, unconfident response. I'm... I... I'm so sorry. I didn't mean... I mean to bother you. I... I sputtered, my apologies, seeming to ask for forgiveness for far more than just intruding on this thing, but for past wrongs that I didn't know I did. I stood there, silent. Amazement filled my face as I tried to determine if I had gone over the deep end. The thing just stared at me all the while, until it began to frown. It looked so incredibly nauseating to see its childlike face twist into anger. It both mesmerized and sickened me. Don't gawk at me, it rasped angrily. Snapped back to the reality as these words hit me, fear started to take its rightful place. I took several steps back and hit something else. Being caught off guard and surprised, terrified that another thing was right behind me, I flung around to see what I had hit. And it was just a tree. I spun back to look at the creature. It was right in front of me, having moved without even making a sound. The face so close I could touch it with mine. The head slightly cocked in a questioning look. I did my absolute best to stifle a gasp. I'm sorry. My apology, the only thing I could muster out. But I continued, my quizzical nature slowly overtaking my initial shock and fear. Please, I have to know who are you? In answer, I heard above me in the darkness of the trees, two voices speak. The voice was a boy and a girl, talking at the same time, both mischievous, but distinctively different. We are what came before. Before your primitive ancestors were entranced by fire, we were here. Before your simian progenitors came down from the treetops, we were already old. We are nature. We are the owners and protectors of this world, and your kind has been sullying it. We've been hiding all this time, waiting for your kind to kill themselves off, so we can have our world back again. As I looked up, a large mammalian thing came into view out of the tree branches. As big as a medium-sized dog, it had mangy gray fur, several hairless, rat-like tails whipped around its backside, far too many to count. It crawled on 6 clawed feet, each claw bearing 5 fingers and a human-like digit, and a human-like thumb. The head was that of a monkey, except for where its eyes should have been, were tiny mouths. Large and open, I could see the unnerving teeth. They were human and straight. Where its mouth should have been was a single, long, wet tongue that felt along as the creature drew downward blindly. Oh my God. Terrified, I bolted. I ran from under the gaze of the two things and tried to get into the clearing, putting distance between us. I ran forward and jumped over the dead tree, only to snag my foot on something and slammed into the ground. I turned to look and saw that my foot was caught. It was in the grip of the tree itself. An arm had jutted out when I had jumped, and a black, oozing hand had clutched my ankle and was slowly retracting me towards the fallen tree. I reached for the gun I had taken and fired at the blackened appendage. A small piece flew off of it and splattered me right in the face. As I blinked away the stinking grime out of my eyes, I saw more and more hands fling out of the shadow of the tree. Like the original one, they were black and slimy with organic decay. I couldn't help it. I screamed at this point. Whatever resolve and curiosity I had left had given way to terror. The hands pulled me up against the tree and held me in place. One hand held my head against the ground and turned me slightly so I could look at the decayed branches above me. The tree's bark began to ooze black ichors out of its cracks, congealing into a black mass at its center. A human-like torso began to come together. A human's musculature was forming. It was made out of branches and insects, defining its body. I refrained from describing it as male or female because it seemed to consistently change its sex. Pushing up through what was the neck came sputtering a massive deer skull. Hair came out of the back of its head. At least I thought it was hair until I realized it was branches, moss, spaghetti-like black worms and glistening green snakes. In a whispering voice, indecipherable gender, it looked down on me. God? Not God. No, we are not the carpenter's son fighting the fallen angel. But gods are what we were. We are your old gods, the gods of winter and spring, the autumn and the summer. And your kind has forsaken your old gods. And you will serve your old gods again. I stared wide-eyed. Shit, I muttered. Any sense of decorum was gone, along with, most likely, my bladder control. Please don't kill me, please don't kill me, I muttered, afraid out of my wits. The bird thing flew to me and landed adjacent to my head. It lowered its own head and rubbed me cheek to cheek. Shh. You shouldn't be scared. This is a momentous occasion for one of your kind. You've been chosen, it said soothingly. I blinked, afraid I was about to become some sort of sacrifice for some long-lost ritual. Man squanders his gifts every day, but some have gifts that will always intrigue us. Yours, we have not seen in a long time, and we would like you to come and sing for us, the black thing whispered. You're singing. That's what drew us to you in the first place. Your voice, the monkey thing said in its revolting tones. We want it. You will live if you but only sing, if you but share your gift in the reverie. I blinked. Sing? For a couple of creatures from supposedly primordial time, and I get to live? I didn't understand, except that singing for their reverie, which sounded, and I had assumed was a celebration of some kind, was going to keep me breathing and get me back to Marcus. If this means I won't die, yeah, sure, okay, I agreed. The things smiled at each other, and then back at me. Sing us 4 songs, child of man. One of life blooming in spring, one of love in the summer, one of celebration in the fall, and one of death in winter. After the 4th, it will be done. Go on, sing. Give us your voice. Give us your gift. The voices together sound like 1,000 whispers at once, and both terrified and awed me as I listened. The things holding me in place let go slowly. The grime living thick slime trails on me. Slowly I stood up straight. Looking around, I could see the trio surrounding me, but more than that, I could see the animals of the woods starting to come into view. Deers walked in from the darkness, and birds all fluttered into view. Possums and mice skittered across the trees, while the glittering eyes of feral, feline and canine animals shone in the night between them. Insects buzzed around, while worms and snakes slithered at my feet. Even the trees themselves seemed to have closed in. I closed my eyes, and I started to sing. I sung of nature, breathing anew in the springtime. As I did so, I could feel the sprinkling of dew on my face, the smell of flowers filling my nostrils. I kept my eyes shut as I sang of love and romance, burning bright in the heat of summer. When I had switched, the moisture was replaced by warmth that was unnatural for Vermont September, and through my eyelids I could make out light slowly shining. I kept my eyes still screwed shut, though. I needed to be good. I needed no distractions. I moved on to a happy, celebratory song, full of vibrancy and joy and of a reward after a long job well done. I could smell food and herbs filling the air. A cool breeze was hitting me, and I could hear talking and laughing. More than just the 3 that were around me, though. What was going on around me, I thought? Something seemed very, very wrong. My curiosity finally gave in as I finished the third song. I opened my eyes. Oh, I wish I hadn't. I stopped singing. My brain couldn't process what I was looking at. I wanted to scream, but I just couldn't. I just could not bring myself to make another sound. What I saw, I still am not quite sure how to describe. The scene around me was still the trees and the nighttime sky, but But that was all. That was all that was familiar to me. The three things, they were still there, but they were joined by more of what I think were their kind. Things that defied anything I had seen in nature or biology. Deer hooves were now backward human hands, and their heads were masses of tentacles. Birds were a tangled mess of wings and beaks, but no body or feet. The possums and rats had lost all their fur and were nothing but musculature and teeth, and they were 3 times their original size. The insects, buzzing, had grown human heads atop their hairy little bodies. Those heads were adorned with large, bulbous eyes, needle-like teeth, and they had thick red hair crowning them. I could see faces moving along the tree barks, some human, some very inhuman. I could see spiders with their bodies made of leaves and branches walking across webs made of moss above. The warmth I was feeling, that warmth, was large ropes of meat at my feet. Where the worms and snakes had been were now long intestines and various viscera, wriggling and moving, each one topped with a pair of jet black eyes and a human mouth. All the animals are gone, unless these things were the animals all along. The black thing in the middle, that thing made of murk, looked at me. Finish! And we will take you. Take me? Take me where? I asked fearfully, but surprisingly strong. Back home, right? To Marcus, away from all this. The bird thing spoke. No, to the reverie, where we live, where we've always been, forever. You will leave the world of men. Now finish. Sing us any song, and we will take you. Please, finish. It had been a deal I had not understood, and I had said yes to it. Fuck, I had agreed to their deal, to sing my gift, and become a part of whatever their world was. I stood, motionless. I realized I'd never get to go home if I finished. I'd never get to go and see my Marcus. I found that resolve I needed. No, as strongly as I could. No. Sing! Anything! Sing! The monkey thing hissed in its double tones. Sing! Anything! I screamed, no, over and over again. I shouted, no, 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 no. All the while, everything started to converge on me. Anything that had a mouth screamed at me to sing. They surrounded me on all sides. There was no way I could escape in some mad dash away. I remembered the pistol and shot blindly at the things around me, hoping to make an exit. I hit several dead on, and to my utmost shock and horror, it didn't do anything to them. It didn't even warrant their attention. Hopelessness filled me as I sunk to the ground, clutching my mouth closed, trying to make no noise as best as I could. I prayed that they would just go away, just leave me be, just let me go home. But they continued to fall on me. They covered me in a thick blanket of flesh, fur, and foliage. All the while, they screamed, "Sing!" I blacked out. My eyes opened to a shaking and Marcus's voice calling my name frantically. I was still in the clearing, but there was no decayed tree there near me. The dark gray sky above and the cold mist on the ground told me it must have been around dawn. Marcus was sitting next to me. He stared at me sorrowfully with his green eyes. "Thank God. What happened? What's wrong? Why the fuck are you out here? What?" He stopped his questioning when he realized I wanted to talk. I looked at him, as resolute as I could. I told him everything right then and there. He just listened. He didn't judge me. He didn't ask any questions during my recollection. He just nodded while I spoke and held my hand. At the end of it, I broke down crying. I can't sing anymore, I said through broken sobs. They said anything. Anything. I can't. I stopped. As the weight of the knowledge grew on me, I couldn't talk anymore. Marcus had started to cry by this point. He was hurting because I was. He didn't understand. I could see that in his eyes, but he knew I was in pain, and that tore at him just as much. "Then you won't sing. If whatever it is that's keeping you from singing, then you do what you feel you need to do, and I'll do what I can to help," he said, as carefully but as confidently as he could. It was clear he didn't want me to stop singing, but, like me, he knew that sacrifices had to be made, though he didn't understand it. At first, that first day, I thought I was merely just delusional. Perhaps I had envisioned the whole thing. So I tried to shower, attempting to stave off the madness and relax, trying to forget what I had been subjected to. But as I finished, something out of the corner of my eye caught my attention in the window. As I turned to look, whatever hopes of hallucinations I had were gone. There, written in the steam, was the word "sing," slowly dripping downwards from the condensation. I walked timidly towards it and realized it was written from the outside. I looked outside to the woods beyond it. They seemed so frightening now to me. My eyes scanned the trees, and I could catch them moving. Not full-body views, no, but the glimpse of an arm, a tail, a wing, a tentacle. It would slither past the trees and the brush. The despair and fear came back anew. My body finally retaliated to the stress. I became sick to my stomach and vomited. What was I to do? That night, as I lay into bed, my body exhausted from the events and the sorrow, Marcus sat by me. He rubbed my temples and looked at me with the most concerned look. I closed my eyes in an attempt to fall asleep. Luckily, sleep did come, but it was short-lived. In the dead of night, in my dreams, I heard them again. They were around me again. The nighttime orgy of meat and nature surrounding me again, and them screaming at me to sing, sing, sing. I woke up in anger, fear, and sorrow. I could hear them again. Marcus was asleep in his chair. I lay back down, only to have the nighttime nightmare return again, only to have their voices return again. Every night, every time I closed my eyes and drifted into sleep, they were there. Every night for the past 3 months, they've been screaming in my dreams. I can barely manage a few hours here and there, but all the same, they assault my dreams with their incessant command to sing. And for 3 months, I didn't sing. Nothing musical had left my vocal cords, denying them any final song to finalize my pact. Oh, I thought I was tough. I thought I could get through it. I thought I could suffer through not using my gift. But these past months, these 3 months have been pure, unadulterated hell. It's the holidays, and I couldn't even face the fact That all that caroling that I loved, all that Christmas reverency and music that I loved couldn't leave my lips. I went so far as to break into soft sobs when a stupid commercial had Carol of the Bells playing over some new overpriced toy to buy. What's worse, I could even see it in Marcus's eyes. He saw me slowly deconstructing without my voice, and it was tearing him apart just as much. The other night, as the snow was falling, I caught him crying and talking in his sleep. He begged me to sing again, just to come back to him. I couldn't do it anymore. It was destroying both of us. I couldn't have that. I needed to sing. I manned up and decided that I would. I know it was the coward's way, but I couldn't stand seeing Marcus's sorrow over something of my own doing. He could and would find someone in time. But me? I was doomed to a life of depression if I didn't take matters into my own hands. Christmas morning, I got up early while it was still dark out. Marcus slept soundly next to me. I smiled and laughed quietly. He always screwed his eyes shut so tight. I kissed his forehead, whispered goodbye, and that I would always love him. No one was in the hotel this night, so I made little care as I went downstairs into the basement in my pajamas. It was cold, so incredibly cold. I realized a window was open down here and snow had poured in. I frowned, thinking Marcus would have to clean this up by himself, but I resigned myself. You're coming home with us, aren't you? A gravelly voice said. I nearly jumped as the voice, seemingly coming from nowhere. But the snow pile shifted. As it broke apart, a spider made of snow came crawling out of the frozen mess, its body made of crystalline ice. At first seeming a bit low-key for the things I had seen previously, I noticed the body was more than just that. It was shaped like a baby's head. The words were coming from the infant's tiny little mouth. A freakish, tiny little human mouth. Sing your gift. I looked around and saw in the windows and in the shadows of the basement things moving about. I saw things slither and writhe, eyes glittering back at me in the blackness of night outside. All around me they were chanting loudly, sing, 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 sing. I spread my lips open and inhaled. But before I could even utter my next words, I felt something hard and hot hit me in the back of the head. I saw stars, then black. I could hear whisperings. Marcus's voice saying something about a gift. Gunshots. A scream. My eyes opened. The basement was empty of everything. Nothing was in here except for the cold snow. But there was the smell of smoke, like shots had just been fired. As I looked around, I noticed that there were 3 bullet holes, all of them very well placed marks. One of them was in the stud of a beam that was directly above me. The other was directly in between the brickwork without actually touching the bricks. And the last one was through the keyhole of the door. Marcus must have shot at them. Maybe he managed to drive them off. Maybe we were going to be okay. Maybe... But then my eye caught something glittering on the ground. It was his wedding ring. And there was something thick in it. Still slightly worn. I picked it up. A bullet was lodged right between the loop, caught inside the ring. 4 shots, all well placed, all testaments to his skill. I ran throughout the hotel, tearing apart all the rooms. I even ran into the snow, screaming his name. But I was met with only silence. They took him. He showed them his gift, and they took him. But why? Why would he go and leave me behind? I had to know, but how? How could I possibly find out? I knew there was only one way. I started to sing. I raised my voice as high as I could and sang at the top of my lungs, and I was met with nothing but the cold wind. I didn't need them or him to tell me what had happened. He had sacrificed himself for me. He had given himself over for me and got me out of my deal. He took my place. I resigned myself at that point to despair. I walked back in after a long time out in the cold, snow trailing off me. I sat quiet and alone in the lobby and wept under the blinking of the Christmas tree. I barely noticed the days go by. I didn't bother to turn on the vacancy sign at all. I walked the hallways and slept wherever I fell down. And, as if some sort of bitter balm for me, they weren't there. They weren't there screaming for me to sing. The quiet of my dreams was deafening. Oh, I wanted to sing so badly and mourn, but the choking of sobs strangled the notes in my throat. Then, last night, I was staring out of the window into the woods, staring at the blackness of the night and twinkling stars. The pinpricks of light reminded me of those things' eyes. I stared, wondering. But then suddenly, I was startled as I heard a large thump at the back door. I looked down from the window, given an excellent vantage point, and saw that what appeared to be a dead deer propped up against the back. My attention was snapped back to the woods as movement caught my eye. There was a man there, a bow and arrow on his back. As I stared, I instantly recognized a set of green eyes shining in the dark by the light of the moon. Was that my Marcus? I thought. This person was different, though. His skin was black, slick and grimy like the thing from the woods, the thing that had come from the tree. Antlers protruded from his shoulders and back. But those eyes were undeniably his. I ran outside as quickly as I could, vaulting over the dead animal. I was too late. The forest was as empty as our home was. Was I going insane? Just imagining something and melding my fears and my heartbreak into one hallucination? I looked down at the dead deer. An arrow was perfectly lodged through its neck and out its spine. That was definitely his handiwork. He always was such a damn good shot. He was still alive. It's Saturday, New Year's Eve, just before midnight right now as I record all this down. I've turned on the vacancy sign in hopes that someone stops in. I want someone to know what occurred here. Not because I want them to come save me or to save themselves, but because I want people to know, first and foremost, that I had loved someone and that they had loved me. I want people to know that I've made the choice to sing their 4 songs. I want them to come, and I want them to take me. I'm going to join my Marcus. I don't care where, or what form, or whatever this reverie is. If I need to serve some old gods with my voice to be with my Marcus, so be it. So fucking be it. I'm recording this because I don't want anyone to find us. I don't want anyone to break us apart. I will never be broken away from him ever again. I've already sang the first 3 songs prior to recording this. Oh, I didn't think it'd work, but I heard them. As soon as I finished the first song of spring, I heard them again. The things of the woods are old gods. I can hear them whispering and screaming for me to sing that last song. Sing the last song so they can take me away to the reverie. Oh, I'm going to them. I'm going to be with my Marcus. Midnight. One last song. Then there came a Sunday where you came to find me. They bore me to church, and I left you behind me. My eyes would not see what I wanted to love me. The earth and the flowers are forever above me. Then the bell tolled for me, and the wind whispered, never. But you I have loved, and I'll bless you forever. Last of all Sundays. Sing,